Welcome to Infinite Heart Stories, where we explore the hidden depths of human kindness and the unexpected rewards of a pure heart. In a forgotten village nestled between misty mountains lived a young boy named Ethan, whose spirit shone brighter than his tattered clothes. Ethan was an orphan who possessed almost nothing in this world, yet he carried a treasure within him that money could not buy. Every day was a struggle for survival, a constant battle against hunger and cold. But Ethan never let the hardship harden his heart. He was known throughout the village not for what he had, but for what he was willing to give, his time and strength. In the quiet moments of the night, Ethan would remember the gentle voice of his mother, echoing through the chambers of his memory. She had left him with a philosophy that guided his every step, a simple truth that anchored him during the stormiest of days. She used to say, "My dear son, when you have little, give a little."
That is the true measure of a wealthy soul. Those words were the fire that kept him warm when the winter winds howled through the gaps in his thin wooden walls. One particularly harsh morning, the village was quiet, and food was scarcer than ever due to a long and unforgiving drought season. Ethan had not eaten since the previous morning, and his body felt heavy, but he forced himself to walk toward the river. He worked tirelessly for hours, lifting heavy loads for a passing merchant, hoping to earn just enough to buy a simple meal. At the end of the day, his reward was meager: 2 small copper coins and a small loaf of bread, slightly burnt. To anyone else, it was a scrap, but to Ethan, it was a feast that would silence the painful growling of his stomach. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of violet, Ethan walked along the quiet riverbank. Suddenly, he stopped. Under the shadow of an ancient willow tree, he saw a figure huddled on the cold, damp ground. It was an old man, frail and trembling, looking as though he had not tasted food or felt warmth in many days. Ethan looked at the bread in his hands. His own hunger was a sharp pain, screaming for him to take a bite immediately. The old man lifted his head, his eyes meeting Ethan's. He did not beg, but his silent gaze told a story of suffering. The boy closed his eyes for a second, and his mother's voice whispered in the wind. "Kindness is the bridge between 2 souls." With a deep breath, Ethan pushed aside his own needs. He stepped forward and knelt gently beside the shivering stranger on the grass. He intended to share half, but seeing the man's condition, he realized that half would not be enough to save a life. "Here," Ethan said softly. "You need this more than I do. Please, eat. It will give you strength to see the morning." As the old man ate, color began to return to his pale face. Ethan watched him, feeling a strange sense of fullness inside. The stranger wiped his mouth and studied the boy with an intensity that felt regal. "Why did you give me your only food?" Ethan simply replied, "Because we are both humans, and if I cannot help you when you are down, who will help me?" The old man nodded slowly, a mysterious smile touching his lips. "You have a king's heart in a peasant's body," he whispered. Ethan bowed respectfully and turned to leave, walking back into the darkness, hungry but feeling lighter than he had in years. That night, Ethan drank only water and curled up on his straw mat, drifting into sleep with a peaceful conscience as his companion. The next morning, the village was awakened not by the rooster's crow, but by the thunderous sound of galloping horses and royal trumpets. A royal procession, shimmering in gold and crimson, marched through the muddy streets, stopping right in front of Ethan's humble, broken shack. The captain of the guard stepped forward, his armor gleaming in the sun. He knocked on the door, calling for the boy named Ethan. Ethan opened the door, trembling slightly. He wondered if he had committed a crime or if they were here to take him away. To everyone's amazement, the captain bowed low. "Young master, the king requests your immediate presence at the royal palace," he announced. Confused but obedient, Ethan climbed into the carriage. As the wheels turned, he watched his old life fade into the dust behind him. They traveled to the capital, passing through grand gates until they reached the palace, a place Ethan had only seen in his dreams. Inside the throne room, the air was thick with silence. Ethan walked on marble floors, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. At the far end sat the king, draped in velvet and gold. But as Ethan approached, he noticed a familiar twinkle in the king's eyes. The king stood up and descended the stairs. He looked at the boy and smiled, the same mysterious smile from the riverbank. Ethan gasped. The powerful monarch standing before him was none other than the frail, starving old man he had saved the night before. "I wandered my kingdom in rags to find a heart that was truly noble," the king proclaimed to his court. "And I found it." Ethan stood frozen, realizing that his simple act of kindness, done in the dark with no audience, had been the ultimate test. "You gave me your all when you had nothing," the king continued. "Now, it is my turn to give you everything you deserve." Ethan was not just given gold, he was given an education, a home, and the guidance to become a leader of the people. Years passed, and the boy from the village grew into a young man of wisdom and strength, never forgetting his humble roots. He returned to his village not as a ruler to be served, but as a servant leader, rebuilding homes and restoring hope. He ensured that no child in the kingdom would ever have to choose between hunger and kindness, creating a legacy of compassion. The old king watched from afar, knowing that his kingdom would be in safe hands, for a good heart is the best crown. Ethan wrote in his journal, "We do not give to receive. We give because it is the only way to truly live." His story spread across the lands, a testament that a single act of goodness can ripple through time and change the world forever. He learned that life is a mirror. It reflects back to us what we project into it. Kindness always finds its way back. The village that was once gray and sad was now vibrant and full of life, all because one boy dared to care. True power is not shown in how much you can keep, but in how much you can share with those who have nothing. Decades later, Ethan would tell his grandchildren, "The night I gave away my bread was the night I gained the whole world." Remember, character is what you do when no one is watching. It is the silent decisions that define our destiny. The spot by the river remained a sacred place, a reminder that miracles often come disguised as struggles and tests of faith. He lived a long, happy life, not because of the crown on his head, but because of the love in his heart. So, the next time you see someone in need, remember Ethan. You never know who you might be helping or what it brings. Life has a beautiful way of rewarding those who stay true to their values, even when the night is at its darkest. Mark Twain once said, "Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see." Let that be your guide. We are all connected in this great tapestry of life. Your thread may be small, but it holds the fabric together. Let us strive to be like Ethan, finding courage in our kindness and strength in our generosity every single day. From a hungry orphan to a beloved leader, the path was paved not with stones, but with selfless acts of love. May this story inspire you to look around and see where you can plant a seed of kindness in your own life. It does not cost much to be kind, but the cost of being unkind is a price too heavy for the soul.
Be the light in someone else's storm. Be the hope in someone else's despair. Be the change you wish to see. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story touched your heart, please share it to spread the light further. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tales that feed the soul and inspire the mind to greatness. Check out our other videos to discover more hidden gems of wisdom and stories that celebrate the beauty of the human spirit. Your support means the world to us.
It allows us to keep bringing these important messages to people around the globe. Take a moment today to do something good for a stranger. You might just be rewriting your own destiny in the process. Remember that happiness is the only thing in the world that doubles when you share it. Go out and multiply your joy. We look forward to seeing you in our next story. Until then, keep your heart open and your spirit kind. This has been a presentation of Infinite Heart Stories, dedicated to the dreamers, the believers, and the givers of the world. Goodbye for now, and may your life be filled with the same abundance you are willing to give to others.